I will be working with. Okay, how which you can see, I have shoulder to be 15. The dress length is 43 inch. Okay, can you see? The dress length is 43. The half length is 16. The skate part of it is 19. So now I'm adding 16, which is the half length plus the skate length. I have, when I add it up, I have 35 inch. Okay, so it gives me 35 inch. 16 plus 19 is 35 inch. So now the dress length is 43. Like I say, this 43 minus 35 inch is giving me 8 inch. That means the gathers that I will have at the downside of it, as you can see, is 8 inch. Okay, that is the calculation that we have, and we are going to cut this material. Please, while cutting, you need to take note of the design that it has. I'm going to start by cutting our half length measurement first. From shoulder to our waist measurement is 16. So before I start, I'm marking my starting point. I'm also going to divide the largest part of our body to know the amount of fold. So after doing that, I know that I'll be wasting this material, so I need to readjust it. I need to adjust it in order not to waste the material. Okay. So after that, I'm inputting her bust point. Her bust point is 10 inch. There's no need for under bust since it's a free gown. I'm marking her waist 16 plus 1 inch for stitching allowance. So I'm extending these lines. On this folded edge, I'm marking her shoulder measurement, which is 8 inch. Normally our shoulder, half of our shoulder measurement is supposed to be 7.5, but I've added half inch for stitching allowance and I connect it on a straight line. So at this point, I'm dividing quarter, I'm placing quarter of our bust circumference, then plus 1 inch for east and 1 inch for stitching allowance. You can do that right on the chest line, or if you are marking on the bust line like me, you connect it back up to the chest line. And at the waist, I'm inputting quarter of our waist circumference plus 1 inch for east and 1 inch for stitching allowance. The width of our neckline, I make use of 3.5, and for the front I also make use of 3.5. I slope the shoulder by 1 inch and I will be adding half inch for stitching the shoulder together. Okay, so I find the midpoint starting from my shoulder slope. I get the midpoint of this armhole line, so I'm curving it with a slight curve like this. I will be adjusting the armhole later on the process of making this dress. Yeah, I'm going to share with you on how to do that, so stay tuned. After which I cut it out. And I'm also placing another material on fold. This time I'm going to leave about 1 inch for the center back. So because the back neckline is always higher than that of the front, I go up by 1.5 inch and I connect it back to the width of the neckline and I'm cutting it out. For the zip, I want the zip allowance to be 1 inch, the space for the zip to be 1 inch. So when it is more than 1 inch, I'm going to trim it out. I will be adding slit to the front of this gown. That is what my client wants. Okay, I will be adding sleeves to it. After that is done, we are folding another fabric like this. This time around we'll be cutting the front neckline. So you just pay attention to what I'm doing. From that slit area, I'm going down by 3.5 inch. You can decide to mark 4 inch, you can decide to mark 3 inch. It all depends on what you want. I connect it and I cut it out. Okay, that is for the front neckline or the facing. So we are cutting the back facing as well. For the back facing, we are going to cut it open. We are going to cut the back facing open. The next thing I'm going to cut now is the skirt part of it. So I'm going to fold my material back into two. Okay, I'll fold it back into two. So at this point, sorry my camera did not show, I mark my starting point. I also take note of the length of the skirt. So I'm marking my starting point. From the starting point, I will come down by 9 inch. That is our hip point. Okay, after that I'm also measuring the length of this skirt. Okay, measuring the length of this skirt plus 1 inch for stitching allowance. So I'm also dividing I'm also inputting quarter over hip circumference plus 1 inch for ease and 1 inch for stitching allowance. Quarter over waist circumference plus 1 inch for ease and 1 inch for stitching allowance. And I connect from the waist down to the hip. From the hip, I'm going to connect straight up like this. There is no need to pencil this dress, otherwise there's no need to pencil this dress, otherwise the person will not be able to walk. The person won't be able to walk with this dress, so it's better you leave it this way. After which I'm cutting it out. For the belt, I will also keep space for the zip allowance. You notice that after cutting my skirt, at the top of it I add half inch for stitching allowance. I added half inch, though my camera did not show. I had half inch, as you can see. So I'm cutting out, and I'm also going to take note of 1 inch for zip. For the top part of it, we make use of 1 inch. So for the skirt part of it, it will also be 1 inch. Okay, so I'm also notching the zip point. This is the zip area. In order to get the length for the gathers, in my own case, you can either pin up your work and pin only your back piece, pin only your back piece, the zip allowance, and measure it out. Whatever you have, you times it by 2 and use that to cut. Sorry, you times it by 4. Whatever you have, times it by 4 and use that to cut your gather split. But for me, I'm going to be joining everything before I cut my gathers. So I'm now cutting off a tiny piece that I will be attaching to the front of this gown. The owner of it opted for a front rope. This normal rope that we always attach at the back, she says she needs it at the front. So I'm cutting out this tiny piece. After cutting it out, I stitch it down, I trim out, and I'm flipping it to the right side. to go ahead and press it flat. The next thing I'm doing is to notch the midpoint. The next thing I'm doing is to notch the midpoint. Okay, you have to take note of your midpoint. So from that midpoint, so for the neckline, I'm marking round half inch for the neckline, and after that half inch I'm placing this rope this way. That is how we are going to stitch it down. So I cover it all with the facing like this. First of all, I will go and stitch at the neckline of my I will stitch the neckline first, then flip it and top stitch. After that, I will arrange my material back and stitch down the slit area, making sure that the rope is at the side, at each side. Okay, you want to make sure that you don't stitch the hem of your rope. Okay, so I'm pinning it out like this because I will be stitching close to the line I'm marking. Okay, I will stitch on both sides, very close to this line, this straight line. After stitching, I'm trimming out a little excess that I have. I also notch the curvy area. Please go ahead and notch that v-neck. It's very important. Notch the v-neck so that it will relax flat. You can see me after I try to flip it without notching, I have to go back and notch it so that it will remain flat. Okay, at this point you can go ahead and press it flat, which I've done so already, and it came out very beautiful. So the next thing is to work with our back piece. I've already turned the neckline of my back piece like this, so I'm left to iron it out. I'm trimming about half 3/4 inch away at my center back so that it will eliminate zipper bulge. At the end too, I'm trimming away half inch. I connect it to the side seam and I'm trimming it out. I'm placing my back piece on top of my front piece and stitch it down by the side. After that, guys, I'm turning the shoulder. You can see how simple it is. I went ahead and input a dart on this dress, on this upper part. I will be losing that out because the owner did not, actually it was my friend that helped me to attach a dart, so I have to loosen it out because the owner do not need a dart, and personally I don't like adding dart to a free gown. Okay, so at the center of the back piece I'm marking, this is the skate part of it, I'm marking where the zip will stop, and from where zip will stop I'm going to stitch down by 1 inch. Okay, so after stitching it down, let's just pin it. Assume that we are stitching it down. We will place our front piece on top of the back piece and stitch each side by 1 inch. Okay, so I'm done doing that. Now I'm placing my upper part and my skate part this way to make sure that they are the same. I'm going to take the center point of each side. Make sure of the center point, the notch area, and Also make sure that it's aligned. Ensure that the side seam align. Ensure that the side seam align. I'm even checking our measurement to be sure that it's accurate. And you can see me measuring both the upper part and the skirt part of it. If there is any part that need adjustment, I'm going to make it now before I join it. I join the top part to the skirt part. Okay. So when that is done, look at what I have now. Is beautiful. So the next thing I'm going to measure round the hem of this skirt. Guys, this is the skirt. Don't mind the fact that my camera does not capture it all. I measure only the front piece of the skirt, the length of it, then times it by 2. You know, the back piece too, we times it by 2. This is the piece for the ruffle. For this ruffle, I said we are going to work with the length of 8-inch. So I've added some allowance to it. Okay. And for the width of it, I have 4 times of that measurement that we measure. Let me explain. Measure round the hem of the skirt. Whatever you have, you times it by 2. Since I was measuring only the front piece, so I'm going to times it by 4. And I have exactly the measurement, even added some 10 to 11 inch. So go ahead and run a loose stitch on this side that I've folded already. So I'm going to form my gathers. I will do this off camera to save our time. Okay. After that, I will be right back. We are done with our gathers. So I'm going to measure that. I'm also going to measure out that is up to the circumference of my down dress measurement. The hem of the dress now, you measure the hem of it, and you also measure the hem, the gathers, and make sure that it's the same before you stitch it down. So when I achieve it, you can see me loosening some part of the hem of my dress. I'm going to join it to the down of this dress. Guys, if you have watched to this extent and you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button and turn on your notification bell so that you get notified. And another thing I want you to take note is, if you are a total beginner, at the hem of this dress, before you attach your gathers, mark 1 inch upwards so that it will serve as a guide for you to hem these gathers, and also for you to be able to weave it without any issue. Okay. I always use 1 inch. At the hem, I mark 1 inch up, and that is exactly what I did. I mark 1 inch upward before I attach, following the line. Following that one inch I go up with, that serve as a guide. Then I will attach my gathers. When that is done, look at what we have. Is beautiful already. So we are moving on to the next stage of it, which is the last stage. Okay, and that is the sleeve. For the sleeve, I want to cut both the 2 sleeves together, the right and the left together. So I folded my material this way. It's folded into 4. Okay. I'm sorry guys, my camera went off. So sorry dear. So what I did is, at the tip of the piece, I come down by 4 inch. From this 4 inch, I make a slanted S, and I even make the hem of the sleeve to be wider than the top of the sleeve. Okay, because I will be attaching elastic to it. If you haven't known how to cut a basic sleeve, let me know in the comment section. Okay. And assuming I want to make a basic sleeve, around elbow measurement is 12 inch. So 12 divided into 2 is 6. I would have placed it like this. Place a 1 inch for stitching allowance, and I connect it this way. Since I will be attaching a elastic to it, so I even added extra 3 inch to it. When open up, I added 6 inch to it for the pleats. I mean for the elastic. Okay. So I'm going to cut out the length of my elastic. So for the length, around elbow measurement is 12 inch. I mark out the 12 inch. So I'm also minusing 3 inch from it. So you have to minus 3 inch from it so that it will be tight on her. This is what I have, and that is including the sewing allowance. I'm inserting the elastic now inside the elastic casing that I created. Guys, if you don't understand what I'm explaining, just watch carefully what I'm doing. You get it right, okay? So after inserting the elastic, I will take it to the machine, stitch the 2H, and I shape my sleeve down with just 1 inch sewing allowance. So I will be attaching it back to my dress to make a dress out of it. Before you haven't subscribed, please support your girl by hitting the subscribe button, like this video if you have learned anything, and do not forget to subscribe. So you can see the way to attach a sleeve to your dress. I'm actually trimming my front armhole both for the dress and also for the sleeve. Okay, after trimming the sleeve and the body, the front armhole only, I will join it down. I'm going to stitch it down off camera. I even check that the armhole is accurate. Okay, I even check that the armhole is accurate. If not, I'm adjusting it. I measure my work a lot because I don't like a situation after stitching I losing it. No, so I like to measure my work, confirm it before I stitch it down. Okay, so this is what I'm doing. I'm trying to adjust the sleeve so that it will be free on her. I want it free on her, after which I will insert my sleeve, and that will be all for this tutorial. Match the two sides seam together like this and stitch it all around. Guys, when you are done with this, after this, to be honest with you, we are done. The only thing here is for me to iron it out and weave the inner part of it out. Yeah, weave it, and that is all. It's as simple as that. Very simple. Okay, so this is what we have. It's looking very beautiful. Thank you so much for watching to the very end. See you all in my next video. Bye.